everyone, and welcome to Artifacts Worldswide Lands of Aecathan, where a bunch of people who maybe play Dungeons & Dragons a little too much decide to get together and play Dungeons & Dragons a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit more. You know, just like once a week for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
At least you didn't say old people decide to play.
Nope. Nope. But, yeah. So let's go ahead and run the intro, and we'll do a little recap, and then we'll get going. And we're back. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. I can already tell.
It's been an interesting day. It can only get better, right? And by better, I mean insane.
More, yeah. That, okay, maybe. All right, so, what's happened so far? Brother and sister, Arimynn and Zorith, met Aribell in the capital city of Armagh after hunting Theranox for a local inn, getting the better of the innkeeper, making friends with the gentleman who runs the Shouting Pirate in Portsward, and then helping out someone who had been kind to the siblings when they first came to Armagh, Megan. They found out what was causing all of her guests to experience nightmares and essentially destroy her business at the Cozy Blade. After retrieving the body of the strange, horrifying little doll creature, you returned it to the Lord's Keep. They summoned the town sage. Ooh. We just lost the camera.
No, we're still here.
Okay.
There we go. Sorry.
All right. Summoned the town sage. Figured out that he had no idea what the creature was. Also found out that they tend to burn in direct sunlight.
Oh, that's right.
And with that, they left the Lord's Keep a little bit richer, a lot wiser, and returned to the streets of Armagh.
I think once I was done taking the soldiers down, I headed to the house, if I remember correctly.
What time is it?
At this point, it's probably a little after 9.
Oh, okay. So we have time before we have to get to
Yes, but
Dojo. That's not till like noon.
yeah, no, that's right. Yep. It's a little after 9.
Darn Zoom.
But you've been up all night.
If it's not one person, it's my mother. Oh,
Right.
wait, what?
No, he's back. We lost you.
All right.
So it's 9 o'clock.
Yep.
We can probably go back to the house and regroup a little bit before. Oh, we still need to go get our healing potions. Maybe we can do that before we go to...
Ooh, yeah. What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We're gonna go to the Shrine of Costus because they were gonna cost maybe less than the Shrine of Eidos.
We haven't sold our mushrooms yet because we're gonna try to sell those to.
Oh, to Lucian. We should go.
I thought.
Oh, we're gonna start with Jojo. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
At least tell us how much they're. If he wants, we'll give him first dib.
Yes. All right.
Otherwise,
well, let's head on over to the Shrine of Eidos, right?
Costus, I think. Eidos will have them, but they'll be more expensive.
Oh. Where is my?
So, Costus is not on the map, so I don't know where it's at.
Oh yeah, I'm pulling up the. Trying to pull up the crud puppies.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah. Our book.
Yeah, the Atlas. Yeah, I have it up, but I don't see Costus on it. Jeff, do you know where that one is?
It's number 7 on the map.
Uh-uh.
Yeah, here we go.
It's not us tonight, though.
So far.
It is, if you're looking at Roll20, right here. There we go.
There he is.
At least once a show.
At least,
You
well,
gotta drop.
we're good for 2 or 3, but it's usually later on.
Right. Okay, if you're looking at Roll20, the Shrine of Costus is right here.
Gotcha.
Oh, it's in the port ward. Okay.
Yep.
We have a network error on Twitch, I think. Oh. I don't believe we're streaming.
That's what I was trying to do. And
I just stopped it and restarted it. There we go. And now we're back.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay, so we're in, let's see, we are not in Lord's Word. We're at the house in Westward, right?
Correct.
We've dropped all of the extra stuff that we got. We dropped it all off. Unless we want to try to get some. We'll probably do
go out
that.
and we should feed the horses and stuff since we don't have someone yet to do that.
Oh, yeah.
We should feed and water them before we head out.
I'm sure they'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right. I need to write a sticky note that says horses. Otherwise, I'll forget them.
Soon we'll have someone to take care of it. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
Take a couple apples out. Try and make them like me a little more.
One likes you, sort of.
Right. The other one's like, I could do without you, but you're bringing me food, so.
Right.
Cinnamon and Thunder are our horses' names. And Cinnamon is the one that's more friendly.
Thunder, appropriately enough, is a little bit more temperamental.
Give them some each an apple and give them some regular food.
All right. Just for fun, make an animal handling check.
Oh, I forgot my dice.
With
Yeah, I know I'm
advantage.
hanging out.
With advantage because you're giving them food.
All right. And since I knew I was going to talk to them, I had thought, oh, I can get some guidance from. If we can get a good roll here. Not a great roll. 17.
17's pretty good. 17's pretty good. Thunder actually doesn't give you any problem whatsoever. He even kind of leans into you with his head for a second. Just kind of like, hey, you're okay right now. Cinnamon, on the other hand, is affectionate.
Aw.
It appears that Cinnamon missed you.
Aw. Well, I talk to them and do the scritches and scratches and pet them.
They seem to be getting used to you and to their new home.
We're nicer than Grumpy Pants.
Rothgard, I believe.
Rothgard, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's grumpy. It's nice here. So once we get them all settled, I'll head back into the house.
All right. Probably right about this time that Zorith shows up.
I'm back. Went down, got the crab things, and let him wade through the river of poo.
Yeah, yuck.
And he was not happy, but it got taken care of. So those will probably be on their way to Appleby pretty soon.
Good.
We should probably head over to the shrine before we head over to JoJo's if we have time.
Yeah, we should have plenty of time.
All right.
So we'll head
Let's motivate.
across the river, ocean, inlet, this thing.
Bridge.
Well, I'm not on bridge. Yeah, bridge. That's it. And head to the shrine.
Head over Westbridge. All right. Get my notes here.
Oh, I need to get up the thing anyway.
This round pavilion, as you look at it, it kind of shifts and moves on the outside. It's like there's a pattern that's always changing that kind of drifts over its surface.
Okay.
And as you walk around it the first time, you see that there's a kind of almost a circular porch around the outside of the whole thing, but there doesn't appear to be a door.
Uh-oh.
Are
A circular porch on the ground level or
Yeah,
a circular deck?
It's a single level. But it's instead of, I mean, usually you'd know where the door was because there would be a path leading to the door. There are a couple paths that lead to this circular porch that circles the entire thing, so there's nothing to indicate where the door is supposed to be.
Maybe finding the door is the journey. So walk up the onto the porch.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you want to? I'll go right, like around, to see if there's anything in the backside.
All right, anybody who's looking, roll perception.
Okay, I'm not looking, but I am taking the hilt of my dagger and banging on the wall at the porch, saying, "Hey, I don't know who your architecture is, but he sucks."
Okay.
8.
Well, I got a 19.
All right, Aribell?
18. Sorry.
18. Okay. Zorith, as you're walking around, are you just looking?
Well, kind of like pressing as I go along the
Okay.
way.
And you're moving along, and suddenly your hand goes right through the shifting image.
Oh. And I pull my hand back and I put it again through.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not like shifting or whatever, and I'll say, "Hey, back here," or on the side wherever I'm at.
Okay.
Walk over there. Stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. Figures it's a church.
So maybe you should not talk to them about haggling on the price.
Well, Arimynn, go ahead and make a religion check.
12.
You haven't heard a lot about Costas, but the one thing you did hear, you think maybe from your mentor, was the fact that they were that Costas was supposed to be trickier than any thief he'd ever met.
Okay.
Before I step in, I'm going to. Do I knock or do I just step in?
I
I'm
just
just gonna-
walk in.
Step in
All right.
behind my brother.
It looks like you're going to walk right into the wall, but you walk right through it and walk into the inside. And from the inside,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like the entire circle, with the exception of the doorway you just walked through, is a picture window.
Okay.
And you see a female elf, rather tan skin. She's dressed in fine robes, but they're just plain. There's nothing ornate about them necessarily. And she's actually old enough to have just the beginnings of laugh lines around her eyes.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
I'm checking for traps. Hang on.
And she just kind of grins at you and says, "It's rather disturbing to see someone pounding with a weapon on the outside of the wall when you can see them do it. That was new."
Disturbing or amusing?
Well,
Well, first one and then the other.
temples without doors are, well, not very useful. Well, excuse me, with no apparent doors.
Well, Costas isn't going to allow his clergy to talk to just anyone. You have to
Really?
demonstrate a certain cleverness and an understanding that things are often not as they seem.
Delightful.
I'm Zorith.
How do you do? I'm
How do you do?
Maristir, matron of the temple.
We're not. Obviously, we've not ventured here before, but we are adventurers, and we do come seeking perhaps something that you can help us with.
I know who you are.
Okay.
She leans forward and says, "Word gets around when someone actually gets the better of Thonin."
Oh. Yeah, that was us.
Yes,
was
I
him.
know. It was him, was it? Well done.
Well, I didn't really get the better of them. I just got even.
That is getting the better of Thonin.
Well,
He worships Eidos. What do you expect?
Anybody who worships anybody is got a detriment in their life, so I don't care.
That's a unique viewpoint.
Mm.
Well, we are actually looking for some health potions. If you had any. We have come across some adventures that were a little more treacherous than we thought.
I see. Well, I do have 2 at the moment.
Perhaps if the price is right, we may be able to get both.
Certainly. I have to make a little profit, but nothing as much as some of the other shrines and temples in town. I could let each go for 56 gold.
Ooh.
That's good.
Well, I guess 1?
Of course. She goes over to a chest and takes a key on a chain out and unlocks the chest and opens it up, pulls out a vial, relocks the chest, tucks the key back in, walks over and says, 1 guaranteed healing potion.
I take the healing potion and I carefully place it in my hip bag.
Okay.
You said you had another one?
I do.
I'll buy it.
Oh, very well. Goes through the whole rigmarole again, opens it up, pulls out the only other vial in the case that you see, closes it, tucks the key back in, walks over, hands it to you. Then she holds her hands out to each of you.
I dig in my pouch and give her 56 gold. Oof.
As do I.
All right. Well.
Marister,
Marister.
thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. After all, you found your way in.
Yep, this is really a interesting place. Like, the view is amazing.
I'm a people watcher, so that was one of the things that attracted me to Costas in the first place. Was I like watching people, and I also like pranking people occasionally. Depends on the person.
Sounds like a good way to spend some time.
Oh, yes.
What time is it now?
Yeah, probably going on 10.
We should thank you for allowing us to purchase these from you. Unfortunately, we do need to be heading off on another errand today.
Of course. Well, I hope I'll see you again, especially the clever one. I think we might have things to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as it isn't religion.
I guess that all depends on how you define religion.
Touché.
And we walk out
Okay.
and head, I don't know, take our time and head to JoJo's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See if he's interested in the mushrooms, and if not, then we'd have time to try and sell them before we.
Actually have to go back and meet.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we're meeting the other person afterwards.
Yeah.
Tara Brooke.
Right.
Okay. Torbrook.
All right.
Yeah. So let's go to JoJo's real quick.
It might be not his clientele might not have the taste for them, but we can see.
Yeah. He might just want them himself. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's possible.
If not, then I think we can go over to the other place.
All right. So you make your way over to the Shouting Pirate.
Walk in. How busy is it?
Not very. It's
Oh, yeah,
pretty
it's
much
about 10.
right in between breakfast and lunch, so there are a few people taking their
Lingering.
time. Yeah.
Malinkers.
Go check on the kitty cat.
All right.
And I'll walk over to the bar. I'm assuming JoJo's behind the counter.
Oh yeah.
I'll walk straight to him.
Did we get our greeting when we walked in?
Actually, you didn't,
Oh.
because he seems quite intent on something he's doing. But Jelly is there, and she does say, "Oh, well, good morning. Your table's open."
As it should be. Thanks. Go over and sit down.
Hi, Delia.
All right. And you go over, and the chairs are, tipped up against the table as usual. But you notice that it is no longer covered in a black tablecloth.
Oh,
Okay.
It is now covered in a deep blue tablecloth.
interesting.
Are there tablecloths on the other tables?
Yes,
And what color are they?
white. Or colors that used to be white. They've been washed many times, so they're kind of a parchment color now.
Kind of pick up the edge of it and tug it a little bit. Synchron, doing some redecorating? That's what it looks like. Nice.
The cat walks over and jumps in your lap.
Okay.
I wait for a little bit to see what JoJo's doing. Like, I kind of watch to see if he's not completely...
He's it looks like he's making something, but he keeps looking at a book and then going back to, so it's clear he's trying to follow a recipe, and it doesn't appear to be something he's made before.
I don't know if I want to bother him. Ugh.
Julia comes over and says, "What can I get you?"
Well, we're here to talk to JoJo, but he looks really busy.
Oh, yes. He's trying to make some dwarven dish. I don't know why. It's not like we get a lot of dwarves in here, but...
I get up and walk up to JoJo from the other side of the counter,
All right.
and I'm moving quietly.
All right. Make a stealth check.
Do I notice that he's doing this? Oh, sorry.
An 8.
Do I notice because I just rolled a, what should I roll? Perception?
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, you notice.
Stop it.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to react to you.
Okay.
I'll hiss, stop it.
I kind of just slide up on the bar like this, watch him.
Okay.
Hey, JoJo!
I'm busy.
Why do you think I'm doing this?
I know you're busy, but it'll take 2 seconds.
Because
Do
you're you.
need-
Hold on. I'm trying to figure out how to make this damn dish.
Well, it's one question and then we'll be on our way, I promise.
Well, unless you're
you
interested
see
in that.
something you've not seen before. You hear him go, "Ah!" Slam the book closed and get up and turn around, and he's actually looking a little cross.
Furnoka mushrooms, do you need any?
Stupid recipe. Wait. What?
Furnoka
No.
mushrooms?
A delicacy.
Do you need any?
I always need Furnoka mushrooms.
Who
I
has
call
them?
over
I
to
can't find any.
I have them.
I call over to Aribell.
I walk over. I was listening. I wasn't too far. Pull them out of the bag. Set it on the counter.
You see him peer down, and he reaches over and picks one up and goes, "Where in the world did you find Furnoka mushrooms?" Oh, sorry.
Trade secret.
He looks right at Arimynn and goes, "You didn't steal them, did you?"
Maybe.
I was carrying them. Do you think we stole them?
Ah, I'm just kidding. I don't care. If I cared about stolen goods, wouldn't be running any business.
Megan has a few. We found quite a bunch and we gave her some. And she gave us this half back. And we were wondering if you wanted it. You had first dibs.
Oh, how much were you thinking?
What did she
Well.
say?
What they're worth. And before you go trying to lowball us,
Mean to JoJo.
remember what we did to Thanen. So,
You need to go sit in a corner. You're crotchety today.
not crotchety.
Make a persuasion check.
Big roll, big roll.
21.
He just looks at you for a long second and then goes, "Ha ha ha! Yeah, like I'd try to get the best of you after you got the best of Thanen. Ha ha! Right.
Just want what's fair. Just want what's fair. I'm not asking for anything above and beyond.
Aye, alright. Reaches down under the counter and pulls out a scale.
Huh?
And
Wise.
and asks for the all of them.
Yep.
And he
Put 'em in.
sits them on the scale and, does some adjustments and says, all right, let's see, going rate, last time I checked. I don't know if I can afford all of them. I'd love to, but I don't know if I can.
You'll owe us? You'll owe us?
How about if I buy half of them? Would that be all right?
Yeah.
That I think I can manage.
Yep.
All right. I'll be back. Jalea, I'm going in the back. Watch everything. Don't I always? Hey. And he leaves behind the counter and goes in the back. A place you've not been, but you assume it's kind of like either his office or a storeroom or something.
Jelia, can we get a small saucer of cream for Synchron?
Oh, that'd be his second one this morning, but sure.
Ooh, someone else came in?
Well, I always give him some when I come in.
Oh.
We don't give him some. He'll think we're mad at him.
All right. She goes behind the counter and pours a little saucer of milk and hands it to you.
I walk back over. And we'll be back for lunch, so
All right.
put it on the table for him.
Okay. And he just kind of stretches for a minute. It's almost like he's trying to say, well, I'm not sure if I want it.
Oh,
okay.
right.
Pet him. Put my head down, do a headbutt.
All right.
Walk back
Yeah.
over.
All right. Jojo comes out of the office with a burlap bag in his hand, and he sits it down on the counter, and it clinks. And he says, "As I estimate going rate, 125 gold for half of them."
Definitely good doing actual business with you.
Huh. Do you know how much I'm going to be able to make off these?
Well, that's the idea.
That is the idea, yep.
Imagine we'll spend a fair bit of this back here.
Yeah, I could see that.
Everybody gets 41, but let's not just bust it out and start counting it.
That now.
Right. I take the bag and put it in my little satchel.
Okay. Then he says, You're gonna be back a little before lunch, right?"
Yep.
Okay. Because I got somebody coming to meet you that I think will suit your fancy.
Great.
Excellent. Do we still have time to go to... Where did you say that you wanted to take them?
Sorry, I was pulling up my...
The Lonely Giant.
The Lonely Giant, yeah.
What's there?
That's one of the nicer restaurants or taverns in town, and
Sell the
I
rest of
stayed
the
at
mushrooms?
before, and I thought maybe he'd buy the rest.
That's over on Lord's Word. We should have time to go there and come back.
We head out now.
Yeah. And we say our goodbyes to Jojo and tell him we'll be back. Bye, Synchron.
High five, Synchron. We go.
All right. So you head off out of the Shouting Pirate, across East Bridge, and to the Lonely Giant.
Yes. We've not been here.
Oh, we should have some dessert while we're here.
Let's get the money first.
Are you hungry, Zori?
But we're about to have lunch in a little while.
Why don't you guys go order? I'll go sell them to this place.
Well, I've met him before, so it might help.
Somehow I don't think it will, but go ahead.
Why?
Let's go.
Okay.
All right. So you walk in.
Time of day only.
Aribell, like you said, you've been here before. For Arimynn and Zorith, this is clearly a more upscale place even than the Cozy Blade. This looks fancy. And considering it's almost right across the street from the entrance to the Lord's Keep, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You imagine this is where government officials bring visiting dignitaries and that sort of thing. And there's nobody behind the desk, but you do see Lucian behind the bar, Aribell.
Okay. Walk in.
I take a seat at one of the available tables.
Okay.
Come with.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Lucian. I don't know if you remember me. Aribell, I came with Father Dilbus.
Oh, yes, Lady Aribell. It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. How have you been?
I've been well, thank you.
We actually are here on some business to see if you might be interested in making a purchase.
A purchase?
We have a, how much when Jojo weighed it, did we see how much it was?
You have a quarter of a pound left.
Okay. We have about a quarter of a pound of Frenoka mushrooms that we're selling.
Make a perception check.
Did it help?
Yeah, he tries very hard to control his face, but you see it before he gets his face back under control. The combination of shock and avarice that flashes over his face before he gets, his composure back under control and says, Frenoka mushrooms. I can't think the last time I actually had access to those.
120 gold.
25.
Sold.
So that's no cross. You said the wrong amount.
Thought it was 120.
125, but that's... We'll give Jojo 5 back. Sets the bag down.
Okay. And he says, wait here, I'll be right back. And walks out from behind the bar.
A little meat on the bone.
Goes over behind the counter out in the entryway. And comes back with a small cloth bag. Looks pretty hefty for a cloth bag, and sits it down on the counter in front of you.
Hand the bag of mushrooms over.
Okay. And he says, should you happen across any more, I will definitely be interested. These, if used sparingly, should last me a couple months. But they're in quite high demand, and I happen to know that the Lord Mayor likes them as well.
Nice.
Are you serving food this early?
Of course. We're in the lull between breakfast and lunch at the moment.
I was wondering if we could get a Triceratops pie or two.
Absolutely. 1, 2, 3. How many would you like?
Will you eat some?
What is it?
It is an amazing cake with peaches and cream.
I'll have some of Zorith's.
2.
2. Coming right up. And he turns around and walks back into what you assume is the kitchen.
Go sit down with Zorith. I'll share mine. I don't think that you'll get much of Zorith's.
He can have a couple bites.
Okay.
And if he likes it, he can have some of yours too.
All right. Oh, we did well on the mushrooms.
We did. I believe Megan told us we could probably sell them for about 200 gold, so we made 45 gold on the deal.
Oh, okay. We couldn't remember if it was 250.
Yeah,
or...
she told you it was 250.
Oh, she did?
Yep.
Well, then.
So we were close to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well,
I
Lucian,
look around. What does it look like?
it's all polished wood. Some fairly nice paintings hung on the walls. The silverware is sterling silver. The table set with china.
Wow.
Lots of polished brass fixtures here and there. This is a high-end establishment.
I pick up the plate and I look at like both sides of it.
It's very nice.
I set it back down
That's
very
expert
gently.
craftsmanship that you're looking at.
I set it down very gently.
Okay. Lucian returns with two two sort of very shallow, wide bowls and sits it down at the table, one in front of Zorith, one in front of you, Aribell. And it's kind of a spiky cake, and there are peaches, fresh peaches, laid throughout the cake. And so he takes each one of those bowls off and then sits down 2 pitchers of kind of thick white liquid.
Like Synchron's cream?
Yes. Even a little thicker.
Ooh.
And he says, "That'll be 6 silver, please."
Give him a gold piece.
Generous as always, Lady Aribell. Thank you. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And he goes back up to the counter, grabs the mushrooms, and practically dances into the kitchen.
All right. You said there aren't many people here, right?
No.
So I lean over to Aribell and I say, how do we do this?
You have effectively doubled the number of people in the dining room at the moment.
Oh, great. How do we do this?
I take the cream, my pitcher of cream, and I pour it all over the cake and the peaches.
I do the same.
Okay.
And it'll soak down into the cake. It's like a sweet cream, right? It's
Yep.
like sweet cream.
Yep.
I watch her like intently to see what she's doing. Like follow everything that she's doing.
But I pick up the dessert fork. And
There are multiple forks on the table.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I'm glad she showed me which one to do. I take the fork that I'm supposed to use, and I hand it to my brother and push it across to him first.
dig in and
Take a bite of it.
It's good. It's not over sweet. The peaches are just ripe, and the cream is sweet. The cake actually is not very sweet. It's only sweet when it soaks up the cream and when it's eaten with the peaches. But the combination of the 3 is excellent.
So after I take a bite of it, I'm like, oh, I don't think you're going to like this, Zori.
And he just keeps eating.
deception
Yep. 25 on deception.
with a natural 20.
Roll perception, Zorith.
Insight or perception?
Oof.
Might be
In-
inside.
Insight 11, perception 13.
Okay, yeah. You're like, oh.
Very disappointing. I put the fork back in and push it back in front of her.
I keep eating.
I look at it and then I look at her.
She looks like she's in heaven eating this.
Yeah,
I just kind of smirk at
she's-
Zori and give her a
she's-
wink.
She's doing the whole when she takes a bite, just going.
I'm like
Kind of-
savoring every bite as it, the peaches, that ripe juiciness when you bite into it, and it, bursts with flavor, and then the cream is so.
I dig in.
It's absolutely amazing.
Oh, you jackass. And I keep eating.
You get no more now.
None for you.
No Triceratops pie for you.
But you did take a couple bites, so it wasn't like horrible. Maybe next
No.
time.
It was amazing.
Did you want some more? This is why I want to come here all the time, just for this.
It is delicious.
We didn't get donuts this morning. I thought this was a good substitute.
This will definitely be a substitute. How big are they?
About probably 8 inches. It's about the size of like a layer cake. It's not as thick, but it does have the spikes that come up. So it's about the same amount.
Okay. Just gauging on how much I'm going to be eating for lunch.
Probably
Flowers
not a
will be
whole lot.
That's
It's
probably
worth
not. Probably not. Worth it though. All right, it's time to head back, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna leave a couple silver on the table once we get up.
Okay.
Just like a tip. And then I guess we go.
Yeah. Who's carrying Lucian's money?
Probably
Oh, I
Aribell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it in my waist pouch or whatever and watch it carefully. We're in Lord's Ward, so I'm not as worried, but we're going into Port Ward, so I'm going to be
Right.
conscious of where my money is.
But it is, like a little after 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
And it's a bright, sunny day, so...
We head over East Bridge to JoJo's.
All right.
And I had prepaid under Maine, right? So that he could get all the stuff.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, you walk back in. It's a little bit busier. The lunch crowd has started to hit. But you see Julia hustling, bringing people their food, and you see Jojo working behind the counter. You see someone sitting at the counter, and Jojo, when you walk in, is actually turned around and talking to that person. And then looks up and goes, "Ha! Welcome back to the Shouting Pirate." And
I just grin.
you can sort of see the shoulders of the person that's sitting at the bar kind of shaking like he's laughing.
Like they know it's a fake accent.
And he says, come over here. I've got someone I want you to meet.
We head over.
And you see seated at the bar either an older teen or a young man. You're not quite sure. Medium build, blonde hair, brown eyes. Kind of, he looks at Arimynn and just kind of nods, and then looks at Zorith and just kind of goes. And then looks at Aribell and does the same thing, kind of like.
What, is he human?
Yeah. Yeah. And
You all right, bub?
Jojo just starts chuckling. He's all right. I'd like you to meet me nephew, Kyrian Organmast.
What was the first name? I'm sorry.
Kyrian. Khirian.
Kyrian. Well met.
Smile.
Hi.
So nice to meet you.
And Jojo just kind of reaches out over and goes, "Poof. Where are your manners, boy? These be the people who might be hiring you." And he kind of goes, hi, nice to meet you too. Sorry.
Do you have
Do
a
you
lot
like
of...
horses? Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I think
you
you're going to
like
ask the
horses?
No, you can go ahead.
Do you like horses?
Oh, yes, I do. My mom has 4. 2 for our wagon and 2 that we ride.
Are you any good at taking care of them?
Well, it's been my job since I was old enough, really.
So yes.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, she doesn't yell at me. I mean, I guess I do it okay. You do it fine, lad. You do it just fine. Your mom's not much for flattery or for appreciation at times. She's been like that ever since she was your age.
Do you still help your mom with the horses?
Oh, yeah. Well,
She'll be.
we kind of split it now because now I have studies. So
What are you
I
studying?
poetry.
Oh, poetry.
Yeah. I'm not very good yet.
Well, you will have time to work on your poetry and your studies, probably.
That would be nice.
And you have time to take on the job of caring for our horses?
Yeah. Uncle Jojo says you live in Westward?
Yes.
Yeah. That's not a problem. How many do you have?
Just 2.
Oh, well, that's easier. Are they friendly?
Perfectly.
That's
They're
good
bo-
too.
They're both friendly. One takes a little bit more to warm up to you, but I gave them apples this morning and they were very happy.
So, okay, I'll bring apples. That's a good idea.
So we have feed and things that'll be delivered each week.
Oh,
So you won't.
okay. So you really
And-
just sort of like need me to come by and make sure that they're brushed and fed. Do you want them exercised?
Yes, if we're gone and don't take the horses, then if you could exercise them, that would be very helpful.
Sure.
Occasionally they'll be going with us, but I'll pay you the same either way because you have to be available. So
Okay.
Those days you can probably
work,
clean the stables and
Sure.
work on your poetry.
while cleaning the stables.
Cleaning the stables, I imagine, is part of his work week.
Yep.
And if you're gone, it won't be any messier. So.
Right.
No, 2 are easier to take care of than 4.
So we were thinking 2 gold per week.
Jojo reaches out and goes, "Welcome to the working world, son." Okay. I bet you can buy a bit more paper and, who knows, maybe some ink and a pen instead of those cold sticks you're using now. Oh, that would be nice.
I don't have anything I can give him. I don't have any poetry books or anything. But in my mind, I'm going to try to remember it.
Okay. And he says, when do you need me to start?
Tomorrow.
Okay, good. That'll give me time to go home and break the bad news to Mom. And Jojo goes,
And then,
Pleased?
"Hmm?
You won't be pleased?
Well, she's had me to take care of the horses for a long time, so I guess it's her turn. At least a little bit more than she does now."
So I tell him where the house is.
Okay.
If you want to come by in the morning, I'll introduce you to the horses. And
One of the horses is a female. Is that going to be a problem?
No, why?
You just seem uncomfortable around girls.
Well, only the pretty ones.
Aww.
I elbow Aribell.
Well,
I
you better
guess
get used to talking to him if you get that poetry stuff working.
And you see him kind of go. The thought
Yeah.
had not occurred to him. And he just kind of goes,
Yeah.
oh dear.
It gets easier as you get older.
Oh, good. Because it's really not easy now.
Most girls your age are just as scared. If that makes any difference.
They don't seem like it.
looks
Inside.
can be deceiving.
And it's like he forgets that you're there. He immediately reaches down into a pouch and pulls out this loosely bound sheaf of parchment and this black rod and flips and immediately starts scribbling. And Jojo just goes,
Dude.
inspiration struck again.
I pat him on the back and just let him do his thing.
We'll see you in the morning. Wink at Jojo.
He says, he'll do a good job for you. Don't be worrying about that.
Not at all. You wouldn't have recommended him if he wouldn't.
He's a good lad. Oh, I did want to mention one thing to you. Went out of my head this morning when you were here earlier because I was so frustrated with that stupid cookbook. Anyway, that note on the board, the one about hunting bandits.
Yes.
Godfrey Allerton actually set foot in the establishment last night.
And would we know who he is just by...
Do I know who that is?
Make a history check.
Both of us?
Anybody who wants to try and figure out if they know who he is.
Ooh, I don't. I got a 5.
It'll be a little bit easier for Aribell.
7.
My history,
I'm
Yep.
holding mine. Pendant.
17.
Okay.
22.
Oh,
22. Yeah, he's the head priest of the Shrine of Eidos. He's, part of the upper class. And so you kind of understand why Jojo is amazed that he actually came in. He dared to slum enough to come into the Shouting Pirate.
So he's pretty desperate?
Aye. And I'm thinking, desperate means it might pay well.
Do you think it's above our pay grade?
I don't know. You got a little experience under your belt. Least you could do was hear him out. See if you think you can handle it.
Okay. We're anything for a buck. Why not?
yeah. We have an appointment, though. Oh, wait. What time is it?
It's getting close to noon because the place is starting to fill up.
Oh, well, we have time for lunch.
Yep.
I pull out 5 gold pieces
Oh, yeah.
and hand them to Jojo.
What's this for?
Well, when we were selling the others, Arimynn was a little generous on the price, and we didn't want you overpaying.
Yeah. My player was an idiot and couldn't remember how much they were, so, yeah.
All right.
But we
Well,
wanted to be fair.
That's right kind of you. And that's why I like y'all so much. You're
Oh,
good,
you're good to
people.
I just get whatever's for lunch. Nothing fancy. And like a half size of it.
Okay. He says, he could bring you half a brandy sandwich.
I will always take half a brandy sandwich.
Okay. Then he asks what the other two want.
I'm just gonna have some tea.
All right.
Wouldn't mind some bread and potatoes with some vegetables.
I can do that. Do you want the vegetables hot or cold?
Hot.
All right. I'll bring them out to you when they're done.
We go sit at the table.
Okay.
Thanks, Jojo. Go sit down.
Well, Kieran will probably be fine. He'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As long as you don't put any pretty girls near the horses.
He'll get used to them.
Were you ever awkward with girls?
No.
No, he was not. We make idle chit chat, I'm sure, until he comes. And actually,
Sweet.
I want to talk about where we would probably go to sell the stuff that we have that we received with Aribell, because she might know.
What do we need to sell?
We have,
The weapons?
yeah, we have a silver necklace with a gemstone pendant. Oh, we need to get them identified. Yeah, first, see if they're worth it. I don't know how to do that in this town.
You can't do that.
I cannot.
Okay. Just checking.
I do not believe I can. I mean, I don't have it. No. To see if that's something I can do.
Maybe back to the Emporium.
Yeah.
There is a magic shop in town. We might be able to pay to have something identified, but
Right. Didn't we?
The marvelous sigil.
no, we went to the Emporium, but there's also a magic shop, I think.
Okay.
Yes, that's the marvelous sigil.
That's the one with the bear in it.
Yes.
Yes. We went there in a different life. I don't think we've been there.
Right.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, the band of 4 were well known in there. You have not yet visited.
Got it. So we talk about going to the marvelous sigil.
Okay.
And then the Shrine of Eidos is on the other end of Merchant's Ward, so we might want to go to the shrine first, and then the shop would be on the way back to the house.
And we've got to go to later after we meet with Torbrook.
Yeah, and he said we could stop by, but he wouldn't be done, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and we would find out like the materials and price, like the cost, because I don't think we actually paid him.
Right. I paid him in advance,
Oh, did you?
but he didn't know the exact cost yet.
Okay.
We could buy the materials, so he wasn't out the cost.
Well, I guess we can just stop by real quick.
He didn't have JoJo's, and was it JoJo? Somebody endorsed him. JoJo and the other guy. Because he was amazed that we got referred to him by Rothgarn.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Since we knew he was reputable, I paid him all of it instead of half.
Right.
He'll let me know if it costs more than he thought.
Yeah. When Jojo brings the food out, I want to pay him.
Okay. Yeah, I think all in it'll cost about 3 silver.
I'll pay it.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it only takes about maybe 6-7 minutes. And Julia brings it over to your table and says, "Here you go. Who gets what?"
Half a sandwich today.
Half a sandwich. Tea,
Vegetable.
I'm betting, is for you. And puts it down in front of Aribell. And says, "And you would be that." And she sits down like a wooden cutting board with half a loaf of still warm bread and a little crock of butter.
Oh, I should have bread. What's Synchron doing?
Oh, he's doing good. He's just kind of he's like just looking at everything that is on his table at the moment, trying to decide if he wants any.
Do you want some more cream? Or is there some chicken or some fish that we could give him?
No. He kind of looks around and then he goes back to like cleaning himself. He doesn't seem terribly interested.
Okay. All right. If he doesn't want anything, I won't give him anything.
Okay.
Well, we're gonna hunt some bandits, maybe?
Yeah.
Why not?
Stop at Torgbrook's place first. I don't remember why we're supposed to stop there, but I know we are because I wrote it down.
We were going to check in and he was going to have the price by then, but he won't be done with the wagon.
Right, okay.
See if there was anything else he needed. I don't know that he cared much whether or not we came back today. So we said we would.
All right. So you finish your meal. It's very crowded now. The lunch crowd has fully hit. And
We elbow our way out, I'm assuming.
yeah, the crowd seems in relatively good spirits, but it's loud.
Keep my hand on my coin
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
as we're walking out.
Me 3.
All right.
And high five Synchron before we leave.
All right. So you head out, head down, round a couple corners, and make your way to Torgrook's. And as you get closer, you hear the sound of hammer on wood. And as you walk up, you see it looks like he's putting the finishing touches on the lockbox.
Mm.
Cool.
He's actually hammering in the latch.
Oh, when we go to the Emporium, we need to get a lock.
Well met.
Oh. Yeah. How you doing?
It looks amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. This was interesting. Haven't done one of these before, but I think it turned out okay.
Open it, close it, open it, close it.
Mm-hmm.
Looks quite functional.
Yep, it actually folds down from the front.
Open it, close it,
Yeah.
open it, close it.
And,
That's pretty neat.
And he says, and I'll actually probably be giving you back a little bit of what you gave me. They were decommissioning a ship, so I got a good price on the lumber.
Wonderful.
So, yep, this is almost done, and then I'll get started on the seats in the back.
Well,
Probably be done by tomorrow morning, unless something goes wrong.
excellent.
We'll stop back by and
If not us, we have a new stable hand. His name is Kieran. If for whatever reason we can't come by, he'll bring our horses to pick it up.
Right. Sounds good.
well, thank you for working so hard on it.
Always enjoy good, honest work for good pay and good people.
Well, now you can tell everybody that you make these lock boxes and
Already planned on it. New skill, gotta market it.
Right?
And we'll be sure when we're driving it, if anyone notices and asks, we'll tell them to come see you.
Much appreciated.
All right. We'll leave him to his work and
See you
head
tomorrow.
on over.
the shrine.
All right.
Oh yeah, Shrine of Eidos.
Great.
Is it Lord Allerton, even though he's a priest? But I know that. You said he was upper class. No, is he noble?
No.
Okay.
He's like, he associates with the nobility because he's a rich merchant and a priest.
Okay.
He's ostensibly the head of the Merchants Guild. There isn't really a formal guild, but he's the one that the merchants come to when they have problems.
Okay. Have I met him before through the business
No.
that I have?
No.
Okay. Not from my parents, but from. Okay.
No.
All right.
All right. So, you head to the Shrine of Eidos. This is a 2-story building that definitely stands out. It looks on the outside like the building is constructed of almost like a scale mail made of gold coins.
Wow.
We came here, though, to pick up the stuff we took. Father Dilbus and I took, right? Didn't we come here to get the supplies?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, so you've seen him before, but Father Dilbus was the one who actually did all the talking.
Right.
So,
Okay. That's probably why I remembered who he was.
right.
And from other things. But okay. It's a little gaudy in here.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk.
You see, as you enter, you see a gentleman sitting at a desk. There's a scale on the desk that has gold coins on one side of it, but you see him stand up. It's a tall, slender man, probably approaching middle age. Black trousers and blue and brown striped suspenders over a gold collared shirt. Bright blue eyes, kind of the Captain Picard ring of hair.
Is this him?
Yes. Yeah.
I just stand behind Aribell. Not really trying very hard to hide my disdain for this place, but I don't say anything.
Is he? Would he be father, or do I know what his title would be?
Make a religion check.
Nine.
You're not sure.
Okay. I don't think it's father like Father Dilbus, so. Master Allerton?
Well, hello. I've seen you before. I'm
yes.
certain of it.
I
Don't
was
tell
here.
me. Don't tell me.
Okay, I'll let you guess.
You were here with Father Dilbus.
I was.
But I don't believe I caught your name when you first arrived, so I am Coinmaster Allerton. And you are?
Aribell Iselin.
Iselin. Oh, yes. Lord Islin's daughter.
No, Lord and Lady Thebes.
Ah. I'm afraid I'm not acquainted. But no mind. Welcome to the Temple of Eidos. How may I be of assistance?
We actually are here to be of assistance to you. The proprietor of the Shouting Pirate recommended your bulletin to us.
Bulletin? Oh. About the bandits.
Yes.
I see. Well, what would you like to know?
Well, we'd like to know what the job is, and perhaps we can assist you.
I see. You wouldn't by chance have been recently doing work for Thonin, have you?
We have done work for Thonin, yes.
I see. Aribell, make an insight check.
I was just gonna say, can I make an insight check? But
Sure.
not horrible. Oh, 12.
It's probably not going to be in our favor this time. 25.
Oh, geez.
Zorith, you're getting
Smarmy.
like mild disapproval. Aribell, you are able to read that his whole demeanor just went from sort of servitile to almost sneering. But he says, well, let me tell you. Several local merchants of high repute have had their shipments south seized and their caravan guards injured or killed. This is bad for business and bad for the reputation of the caravans coming out of Erma in general. If the caravans cannot reach their destinations, it lowers public confidence in Erma mercantile interests. Lower confidence leads to fewer orders. Fewer orders leads to an economic downturn. And an economic downturn leads to less income for the merchants and those in their employ, of course. It would be a service to Lord and Land to shut down this bandit operation. That should be enough for any loyal citizen of Aecathan, but knowing the occasional lack of patriotism felt by the population, the merchants have offered up a pot of 90 gold. Should the bandits be successfully, shall we say, dealt with?
So do you mean dealt with however we see fit, or do you mean you want them slaughtered?
Stopped. I wish their interference to end.
Okay.
The trade routes are supposed to be safe.
Do you have word of approximately where they are on the trade route?
Yes. And, should you accept, I'll be happy to show you. I have a map.
You said south of Arimynn?
Yes. These are caravans headed to both the fort and the citadel.
Okay. I turn around, like, my back to him to, like, confer with the other two.
So our dealings with Thonin notwithstanding, we are experienced adventurers now, and 90 gold seems mostly reasonable for our services, but I wonder if you might be able to add in a healing potion, as I'm sure you can imagine the bandits could be difficult to deal with, and I know that's something that you trade in.
Make a persuasion check.
And cling to that thing.
Ooh, girl.
Uh, 19.
Ooh.
Well, those are very expensive. But I suppose I could see my way to a discount.
Well, they're very expensive, I know, for the sale, which of course goes to the church. And, you might recall I made a generous donation when I was here last for your work. But perhaps, what were you thinking for a price?
If you accept, I could see my way to taking half off. So, 35 gold pieces.
I shrug my shoulders. I'm like, leave it up to you.
Well, I think,
Pure gold.
yeah, I think if the job is 90, I don't think I want to give you a third of that back.
Understood.
Okay.
So,
I turn around to confer
of course.
in whispered tones. I don't know, we could use the work.
You don't want my opinion.
Yes, we do.
This guy can kiss my rosy red butt.
I knew that was going to be your opinion.
I will. I'm kind of surprised though. We've done several jobs from the board, and this one's still posted. And I know you yourself found your way to Jojo's establishment yesterday concerning this, so I know this is a problem.
Yes, the only people who have applied so far were clearly lacking in the necessary experience. One decided not to do the job, and the other never came back. So you are the third team to inquire about this opportunity.
I guess we could think about it.
Yeah,
Let's walk outside.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's quite enough for the expenses we'll incur.
Well, should you encounter any coinage or material goods, the material goods, if identified, would have to be returned to their rightful owners, but the coinage would be yours to keep.
Well, we'll think about it and let you know.
Very well. I'll be here.
I head out.
Walk back out.
You gotta be kidding me.
What?
You really want to work for this guy?
I don't really want to work for him, but if the merchants are being attacked on the route, that I do care about.
Yeah, he's pretty smarmy.
Oh, he's very smarmy. The whole church is very smarmy.
Yeah, just look at all the gold-studded crap they've got in there. You know how many people that could feed?
Yes, I do.
This guy, I just don't. I don't like churches in general, temples in general. I don't really have any kind of
This isn't a church
thing for gods, but this is like beyond awful.
But these are merchants who are trying to sell goods for the people we do care about. You know, bringing in trade supplies for Megan, for JoJo.
What are our other options?
There wasn't much on the. I don't think there was anything left on the board.
I don't think so.
That was the only thing left on the board.
I mean, we'll probably make some money on the.
Yeah, well,
But it's not about him to me. It's about the merchants and the caravans. And these are people, that's their livelihood, and they're being attacked on the road, just trying to get home to their families.
How late would she know how late this thing is open?
It's probably open until about dinner time.
Do you want to go home, take this stuff to be identified, or split the money that we have at home and then maybe come back, just not looking too eager to do this job? Or do we just want to take it?
You do know that while there hasn't been a lot of interest, the possibility exists that someone else could come along and take the job at any time.
Our exploits with Sonic didn't help.
yeah, well.
Yeah, let's go over to the what's it called? The Marvelous Sigil. And then we can decide.
I would have brought the necklace probably and the bracelet with me, but the rest of that stuff, like the long swords and the dagger and the armor, would have stayed at the house.
Okay.
Did he say where those bandits were attacking?
He just said south.
He said if you accepted the mission, he would give you all the particulars.
But they were south of the city on the trade route.
Yep, somewhere along the route to Fort Grimspire and the Citadel, where the heads of the neutral pantheon train and learn. Kind of the neutral version of the Sanctum.
Oh. Okay. Never spell neutral correctly.
All right, so we'll head to
The Marvelous Sigil.
Marvelous Sigil.
All right. So you make your way through the streets of Arimynn and to the Marvelous Sigil. It takes you a little while to get there. It's kind of set a little ways off the beaten path in Merchant's Ward. But it is definitely a unique structure, because whereas the rest of the buildings around it are standard square buildings, this is a round brick tower. A single doorway leads in.
We go in.
All right.
Like, it's normal shop hours, so
Right.
it would.
Everyone, let's see what would be appropriate for this. Everyone make a dexterity check. Not a save, just a regular dexterity check.
$14.
5.
8.
8. All right. Well, the three of you walk in, and Arimynn, you just kind of look to the left and go, huh, well, that's a thing. Zorith and Aribell, you look left and actually, like, make a high-pitched noise and jump back a step, because there is about a 10.5-foot bear standing there like this.
About to pull my sword when I realize it's stuffed.
Airman snorts a little chuckle.
I
Gotcha.
just reach out to, like, touch it, like, pet it, like, see what it's, like, if it's real.
It's real.
Really dead, I know, but
Yes.
just, like, if it's not.
Oh, no, it appears real.
Goodness.
Like a real bear?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah, no, a real dead bear.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Stuffed bear.
Yes. Taxidermied.
Whew. I'll remember that for next time.
Better than coffee, ain't it?
You might want to talk to the priests at the Shrine of Costus. You seem to enjoy the pranking and trickery.
What's it look like inside? Like, are there...
There.
Oh, it's round, too.
Yep, it's round. There is a counter sort of across the back quarter of the area, and there's an opening on both sides so that somebody could walk behind it from either end. The rest of the area is pretty much, there's nothing in the middle. It's just open space, but there's piles of things around the edges. Looks like some chemicals, some possibly spell components.
Hmm.
Do they have any, I mean, I guess they would for spell books, but do they have anything that looks more like a journal? Like a book?
Not that you see.
For Kieran?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have ink and quill here, though.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he might have gotten his own.
We haven't paid him yet.
We gave him 2 gold,
I
right?
said we would pay him 2 gold a week, but we haven't paid him yet. He's
Oh,
showing warning for
Right.
first day.
And, usually you pay somebody at the end of the week just to make sure they do the job,
Got it.
Jojo would whack him in the head if he didn't do the job, so I'm not too worried.
Yeah.
But still, it's the principle of the thing.
Right. Yeah.
All right. And you see behind the counter, there's a well-dressed elven woman, styled, blonde hair parted on the right, hazel eyes. She looks not old enough for there to be any wrinkles yet, but you do notice that here and there, all over her face, are tiny scars.
Ooh.
I will defer to Arimynn because this looks like his expertise.
Okay.
She kind of looks
Or-
up and you get the sense that she's tired. She seems to be moving a little slowly, but she smiles nonetheless and says, "Welcome. Welcome to the mysterious sigil.
Thank you.
I'm Shanerla Nerin. This is my establishment. How can I help you?"
Well, we're kind of in here to browse, but we also might have some need for your services. I think we have some things we found that maybe need to be checked out that we're not capable of doing.
I see. And are you looking for an investigation as to whether the items are enchanted, or do you know they are enchanted and are looking for details on their enchantment?
Well, I'll do this. I'll cast. Well, I think I would have already. I just don't remember. But I can cast Detect Magic on the items.
Okay.
So I'll.
I can't remember if we. Oh, yeah, I think-
I'm going to say that you did already, because I think you did, and they're not.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, none of them are magical?
No.
The bracelet and the
Oh.
necklace with the gemstone pendant.
Then we don't have any need.
Oh, then we don't. Oh, we might find something to buy.
The silver necklace could possibly bring in 150 gold. Valuation approximate. I wrote that down.
Okay.
That might be more for the Emporium then. Do you mind if I ask you a question while we're here?
Oh, of course. Ask whatever you'd
Are
like.
are you a member of the Merchants Guild?
Oh, yes.
Are you aware of... Look around. Is there anybody else in here?
No.
Are you aware of some attacks that have been happening on caravans?
Oh, yes. Yes. I had actually sent a weapon specifically for the gentleman in charge of the fort, and it never arrived.
We were talking to Coinmaster Allerton about the posting that he put out, but his demeanor was a little less than persuasive for us to take the job.
Well, yes, that's because he's an ass. It's only his position.
I like her.
It's only his position as the coin master that allows him to take upon himself the right to speak for the merchants of Arimynn. But he does get results. So, like his demeanor or not, he is useful in his own way. Just not particularly enjoyable.
Does
Do
she?
you know?
Oh, you go.
Go ahead. Do you know? Just to ensure that he's being fair to all of you, he had mentioned that the merchants had put together a amount of money set aside for the job. And not that I don't trust him, of course, that would be disrespectful.
I don't trust him.
But I was wondering if you happen to know what the amount was that was being offered.
I do not. I donated 10 gold to the pot, but I don't know what the other merchants donated.
Okay. But presumably several merchants did, right?
Most of the merchants in town, I believe. Although, not all of them would have given as much as I. Some are struggling.
And having their trade route interfered with would definitely make it harder for them.
Indeed.
I look, does she have anything special or fancy back along her?
Oh yeah, there's a glass case behind the counter. Right now, it has several shelves. There are only things on 3 shelves. There is a long, black iron rod, a slender, polished, what looks like oak stick, and a beautifully polished piece of granite.
Round or flat or
Round. Well, oblong.
oblong?
He offered a reward of 90 gold. Does that seem in line with what you think would have been donated towards the cause?
Yes. I was hoping it would be a bit more, but knowing the difficulties that some of the other merchants in town are dealing with, that could be right.
We did ask if he'd be willing to throw in one of the healing potions they have for sale, but he didn't.
No.
He did offer a discount, but since they're already overpriced.
How much, if I can ask?
He said half at 35 gold, but
Oh.
those are a little pricey for a healing potion, considering we just bought some from the Shrine of Costas for a much better price than 70 gold.
Yes, but half off would be 35.
Yes.
Still,
But half of what we had just paid earlier would be 25. So,
true. Well,
so.
I'm surprised he went to half. You must have been very persuasive.
Maybe when we go back. I point to the oblong granite thing. If I may inquire, what is that?
Ah. This
Out of our budget.
This is a very, very interesting item that came my way from someone from across the realm. This particular stone has been imbued with concentrated luck.
Luck?
Yes. While
Interesting.
it exists on a person, in their belongings, in their hand, around their neck, Doesn't have to be touching them, just on their person. They become more adept at the things that they're good at. They become more difficult to surprise or sway magically.
That's really neat.
It is.
I imagine it's a little out of our price range right now.
If you're considering working for the Temple of Eidos, I'm afraid so. This prices out at a tad over 4,000 gold pieces.
Interesting. And I nod my head and I just kind of back up and I say, it's beautiful.
I think so too. I'm half tempted to keep it for myself, but it would really go to waste. I don't go out much. I don't travel.
Well, right now, with the roads being the way they are, that's probably a good thing.
Yes.
Well, I appreciate your candor. I think that helps us make a decision.
I think so. And I think we're going to take leave and perhaps go take that job. So thank you, Shanarla.
It was my pleasure meeting all of you, and I wish you the best of luck. The merchants of Arimynn need assistance, and hopefully you can provide it.
I hope so.
And we leave.
Leave.
All right?
Stand out in the middle of the street and go, well, what do you think? Looking straight at my brother.
Well, clearly something needs to be done about it. If you guys want to take the job, go talk to him, but I'm not walking in there and looking at that turd again.
Okay.
Head back over.
All right.
You can stand outside. I'll go in with Aribell, though.
Okay.
I don't want her to go in alone. Oh, on the way there, I do say 35 is a lot less than we paid.
Right, but he's saying it's half, so.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get another one for us to have,
I know.
but this job isn't about the money for me.
Mm. Well, it would be helpful.
Yes. And we should be paid for our time. But
Yep. Well, let's go tell him yes then. Get the map.
All right. You make your way back to the Temple of Eidos. You walk in and you see Coinmaster Allerton picking up a cloak and settling it around his shoulders. Looks like he's getting ready to leave.
Mm.
He turns around and says, "Oh, welcome back. I was just getting ready to close up. Have you come to a decision?"
We'd like to accept the job.
Excellent. Well then, why don't you come back first thing in the morning? I have a dinner engagement that may benefit you in the long run. So I may have additional information to provide in the morning.
How far out? I mean, I understand that you've got a map. How far out is this? Are these confrontations? Do we need a cart? Do we need horses?
We'll deal with all of that in the morning. Some will be provided for you.
Okay.
You have to appear to be another caravan.
Okay.
Well,
We'll be
enjoy
back.
your dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, I shall. In the morning, then.
Heard there's some very good new menu items at the Lonely Giant and Cozy Blade.
Really? Well, I was planning on heading to the Lonely Giant anyway, so I'll ask Lucian what's new on the menu. Thank you for the tip.
We were there this morning. It was lovely.
Behind you, I face away and I go, who you really know? Like not actually saying it out loud, but just not facing him totally away, like I'm walking out the door.
Right.
You
All right.
turn and walk out.
All right. So, Arimynn, you see them come out.
I lean over to Aribell and I go, thank you for the tip.
I giggle a little.
I say it like 4 or 5 times because I'm just so
The whole way back, that's all.
thank you for the tip.
It's just like, watch your step, Zorith. There's a puddle. Thank you for the tip.
So I assume you talk to the waste of flesh.
We come back tomorrow.
No, he's not a person.
We come back tomorrow.
Yes. We are due back in the morning. They'll be providing horses and carts to make it look like we're a caravan. So.
All right.
We can go back and split up the money and
Yeah.
have dinner and get ready.
All right.
It was what? 40 gold apiece?
Mm-mm.
80 gold apiece.
Well, we have 245. and then-
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Right, but I already added the other.
83 gold apiece? No, 81 gold apiece, and 2 gold pieces left over.
You want me to put it in party treasure?
Sure.
All right. You.
Yeah, because I gave JoJo back the 5, but
Oh, okay.
So
That
that
would have been 240, so it's just 80 apiece.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So. All right. You have a nice, relaxing evening. Continually entertained by. Thanks for the tip.
Thanks for the- I would probably say it as much as I could every time, like somebody hand me my meal. I'd be like, thanks for the tip.
I know that it's not a job you wanted to take, but it means a lot to me. I appreciate your willingness to go along.
Well, I don't mind helping people who need it. He doesn't need help.
No, but people like Charnel.
Shanera.
Narla flipped my page, so I didn't have the spelling. People like Shanerla and Megan do.
So, I've not really taken a good look around the house tonight while we're relaxing. I'm just going to give it like a settling, because we've mostly just kind of put our stuff down and slept and put our stuff down and slept. I'm not gonna like walk around exploring, but I want to just kind of give it a glance over. Like,
all right. Make an investigation check.
whammies, no whammies. Okay. Investigation. 18.
18. You don't find anything that you weren't expecting, although you open up a door to see what it is, and it turns out to be a closet. In the closet, in the back, there's a wooden crate with children's toys. Seems to be tucked back there. Doesn't look like it's been moved in quite a while.
What's our bedroom look like? Double beds, right?
Yep. It's kind of plain. Like, there's not a lot of character to it.
Okay. I thank her for dinner, and then I'm probably going to head to bed.
Okay. All right.
Arimynn is uncharacteristically quiet the rest of the evening.
When he comes to bed, I tell him about the crate of toys. And I say, did she say she had children?
I don't think she ever did say.
Maybe that'll be a good time to ask. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't want to talk about it. I don't know. And I roll over and go back to sleep.
All right. You have a very peaceful night, and you awaken in the morning, grab a quick breakfast, and head out toward the Temple of Eidos.
Probably wait till after Kieran gets there, though.
Oh yeah,
because he's coming.
He's there. He's there bright and early.
Okay.
Like, he shows up just as you're finishing breakfast.
I introduce him to Cinnamon and Thunder.
They take to him immediately.
Good.
Thunder is more affectionate with him than you've seen him be with anybody.
Oh, good.
He rolled a 20 on his animal handling check.
Nice.
So
I tell him I would normally pay him at the end of the week, but that we're going out on an adventure. And since I don't know how long we'll be gone, I give him 2 gold now.
Oh, he kind of just like, I could wait. I mean, if I don't need to be paid at every week.
This will get you started. You'll be able to get some paper and ink and a pen for your.
And if we're not back, we'll need him to go pick up the cart.
Yes.
The wagon.
And then also, I have another job for you this week.
Oh, okay.
Actually, later, after you're finished with the horses this morning, do you know Toragruck Undermain?
Oh, yeah. He's a friend of Uncle Jojo's.
Yes. He is doing some modifications to our wagon.
Okay.
If do you think that you could take the horses and pick the wagon up and bring it back here?
Oh, sure. I could do that.
Okay. And then just check in on them every day, and we'll let you know. You'll see us when we get back.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Kieran.
Oh, you're welcome. He's still staring at the 2 gold pieces in his hand. You get the sense that this is the most money he's ever earned himself.
Make sure you tuck that away in your pockets before you go through town.
Oh, okay, right. Yes, I'll do that. Puts it in a little pouch on his belt. All right.
All right. I'll leave you to work. All right.
And
Then we head to the.
head off to the Temple of Eidos, and that's where we're going to take a break.
All right.
So we'll be back with our guest after the break. So we'll see you on the other side. And welcome back. So, it's a relatively cool morning, breeze coming in off the water, as you make your way back to the Temple of Eidos. Now,
I don't think there's like small talk. I think it's just headed there.
all right. Arimynn, are you going in this time?
No.
We'll go in.
All right. Well, you head in and you see Coinmaster Allerton. And he says, good morning. Nice and
Morning.
prompt. That's good. You see that he has a table set up in the middle of the room. And on the table, there's a map.
Okay.
He says, we're waiting for guests. But in the meantime, I can show you where it is that you'll be going.
And before, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Before he starts showing us the map, I say, guests, we can't guarantee that they'll be safe.
Oh, don't worry.
Okay.
So, he pulls up the map. And begins to show you. He says, this is the southern trading route. As you can see, it heads to Swampwatch, and then from there, either to the Citadel or the fort. The attacks have all occurred before reaching Swampwatch.
Okay.
Near as we can tell from looking at the map and talking to those who returned, it appears to be somewhere in the middle third of that route that the attacks keep happening.
Okay. I mark it like approximately the part where we're supposed to encounter bandits on the map.
Okay.
Oh, I ask him if I can. Can I mark on your map?
Oh, yes, this is going with you.
Okay, I mark on the map.
All right.
Just so we're more aware during those times.
Okay.
And you hear the door open. And you see two soldiers walk in. One of them is a dwarf. Looks rather fit. Has a bulbous nose. Is wearing well-fitted and well-kept-up studded leather armor. His skin shows that he's definitely spent some time out in the sun. He has a very tight ponytail of salt and pepper hair, which is also echoed in his beard, which is about medium length, but rather neatly trimmed. And that's not usual for a dwarf.
Right.
And he looks at you with rather piercing amber eyes. And with him stands a young half-elven woman.
I'm a human.
Oh, sorry, human.
Stuck on that.
We went back and forth.
Human woman.
And I will let her describe what you see.
Well, you see a dusky-hued woman with curly hair and that's, wrapped up in a knot and dark eyes. And she's leaning against a tree with playing her lute.
Well, you're inside a temple at the moment, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sitting down playing a lute. And I look up and I say, "Well, hello, adventurers. I'm so glad that you finally made it here."
the dwarf says, Now. Coin Master.
Well? No one said I was patient.
Coin Master, I've brought your supplies, and I've also brought you assistance. This is my lieutenant. She'll be going along.
Lieutenant.
We also have wagoneers that will be accompanying you as well to keep track of the wagons and the animals. They, however, do not fight.
Right. How many?
There are 4 wagons.
Oh, gosh.
There are 4 wagoneers going along. I assume that your hired help can drive a wagon.
Well,
Oh.
not 4 at once.
Right. Oh, we certainly can.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me. Manners this early in the morning do not come easily. I am Captain Warbender, Ranmore Warbender. Stationed here in Arrimynn, part of the Aecathan Army.
Would you be rather stationed elsewhere?
I go where I'm needed.
Hmm.
Thank you for your service.
And introduce yourself, Lieutenant.
I am Tasha Greenvale. Tasha Greenvale. And I am happy to accompany you as I go where I'm needed as well.
Can you drive a wagon?
Sure.
Probably if you're a soldier. Probably.
It doesn't say specifically, but I mean, I've got animal handling, so
Right.
that'll do.
I'm sure you have driven a wagon before.
Probably.
May not be a specialty, but you've done it.
Okay. I got this.
Well,
we put-
Glad to
Captain,
have you.
are your other men and the wagons ready? Yes. I think I just told you they were. Oh, you may have. I wasn't paying attention. Very well. Don't let me stop you. Everything you need is outside. Good luck. I hope you
Thanks
come
for the
back.
tip. And I walk outside.
I do not laugh until I get outside.
You notice he gets this look of like,
I didn't say it all snarky. I just said thanks for the tip.
yep. And the captain says, Lieutenant, I'll see you when you return.
And I stand at attention. And I salute. And I say, thank you. And I will see you when I return. And I'm off.
Okay.
Go outside. And I say, I'm sorry, I didn't catch everyone's name. I'm Tasha.
I'm
Zorith.
Aribell.
Oh,
Aribell, pleased to meet you.
Zorith.
Pleasure to.
Nice to meet you, Zorith.
And
Yeah, he's leaning against the wall of the temple waiting for you guys to come out.
Oh, the one thing you've noticed leaning against the wall is that you sink right into these gold coins and you feel wooden plaster against your back.
Oh, it's an illusion?
Yeah.
Fake.
is that better or worse?
That's a good question.
I ask if we should put one of each of us with a wagon.
Who's this?
This is Lieutenant Greenvale. Tasha. She'll be accompanying us.
Lieutenant?
Yeah, she's a member of the army.
Oh.
I'm not
Cool.
dressed in army gear. I'm just dressed like a standard adventurer.
Tasha, this is Arimynn. He'll also be joining us.
Pleased to meet you.
Do you work for the sack of turd in there?
I work for my captain.
He would have walked by, I'm guessing. They would have walked by.
You when she walked out, you saw them walk in, and she walks out with a very well-dressed, military-looking dwarf, who just kind of sees you there, nods, and walks down the street.
So you work for the city?
I work for the army.
The army. Okay. That's cool. Let's go.
Her captain didn't seem any more fond of the coin master than you did.
I imagine he didn't.
Do I know anything about the coin master?
You know he's a pompous ass, but he's the spokesperson for the merchants in town, self-appointed, and, there's a whole story there, but he's obnoxious and officious, but he does what he needs to do, and he does represent the interests of the rest of the merchants in town.
Okay.
But his own most of all.
Oh, sure.
What? I am a half elf. No, I'm full elf.
You're Elfie.
I am Elfie. Let's see. No description. I'm trying to find what you're looking at. Teal eyes, medium size, about 5'5", and tan skin, and I have white hair, kind of in like a dreadlock, but pulled back,
Nice.
and just regular adventuring clothes, not really armor.
Oh yeah, I've got some armor. Just a little.
Aribell. Oh, sorry. Aribell's about 5'8". Looks to be in her mid-20s. She has brown hair, but there's kind of streaks of red and gold in it. Her eyes are blue, and she's wearing chainmail. Has a big sword and a shield.
Arimynn has very similar coloring to his sister. The white hair, teal eyes, tan skin. His hair is cut short. It's not like shaved, but it's cut short, and it looks like it was cut with the dagger he's wearing on his, because it's not very,
Kempt.
Right. He's about 5'10". He wears brown leather armor and typically carries a bow and has some sort of a sword-like thing on his belt and his dagger.
Oh, yeah.
He also has a distinguishing feature, a tattoo on the right side of his face. If you speak Elven or read Elven, you'll know what it is. Otherwise, it's just this runic looking. You do read Elvish?
I do.
It is a character from the alphabet. One is an A and the other one is a Z.
All right. The Alpha and the Omega. Good to know.
And also Arimynn and Zorith.
Aww. That's sweet.
They're so cute.
They are. So Tasha has a crossbow and a longsword. She's in leather armor, I think. Yeah. And she's got a lute on her back. Do I have a religious symbol, Jeff?
That's up to you.
Okay. And I have a small necklace with the symbol for
Well, hold on.
what?
I will tell you what the symbol is.
Oh, lovely.
2 crossed rosebuds held in clasped hands.
Ooh.
Jeff, would I recognize that? Because that's one of from the Sanctum.
Make a religion check with advantage.
Uh, 15.
15. That is the holy symbol of Dressfiend.
She's one of the good gods, right?
Yes.
So the clerics, they would have trained at the Sanctum as well then, right?
Yes. You know that she is a deity that Kieran would probably enjoy learning about because one of her aspects that she sponsors is poetry.
Cool. How would you like us spread out? I asked Tasha, who probably has more experience with...
Excuse me. Ladies,
Captain?
gentlemen. No, I ain't no captain. Name's Graf. I'm in charge of this wagon train. That there's Jink. That's Rothric. And that tall one up there, that's Talnor.
What was the third one?
Rothric. Me and the boys, we was talking. What would you think about maybe a couple of you take the first wagon? Me and the boys will follow in the second and third, and then the other couple of you take the back wagon. We're not going to be much good in a fight. Probably just take cover, but figure we do it that way.
Okay.
Something happens, you're only a wagon away.
Yeah.
I'm fine going in the first wagon.
Do you want to ride?
Yeah, I'll take the first wagon too.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ride in the back.
Okay.
I'll get in the back wagon with Zorith.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He looks at you all and goes, You know we're not actually carrying anything, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Have you
Yes.
made this trip? Have you made this trip before?
Nope. Talk to some of the boys that have, though.
And
Said they come out of
And it-
nowhere.
come out of nowhere.
One minute, coast is clear. Next minute, there's people with swords and bows saying, "Stop or we'll shoot you."
Okay.
What did my captain tell me about this job?
That he wanted an army presence, and that this is a mission to try and draw out the bandits that have been disrupting the southern trade route.
Okay.
Your job is to help guard the caravan, learn as much as you can about this bandit operation, and if possible, shut it down. But
Okay.
if not, at least bring back intelligence of what you're facing out there so that the army knows exactly how much of a force to send.
Okay.
Sounds good. Do
All right.
the wagons behave differently without product in them?
No, because there are crates and sacks.
Mm-hmm.
The crates are basically filled with just the stuff that you'll need along the way, and the sacks are filled with sand.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, next question. Did my boss give me a crossbow? Because otherwise I don't have one. I was looking at the weapons that I'm trained in, not the weapons that I actually have, I guess.
Let me look. I'm thinking.
I have a crossbow. If you need to borrow it.
Okay. I'm just thinking, if we're going to be dealing with bandits and I don't have any missile weapons, that's going to be interesting.
Do I have any AoE spells?
I'm sure you would have a crossbow.
Okay.
Is it possible for me to make a little bunker out of the middle of this wagon, a place where I can get down into and use the sandbags for cover in a 360?
Sure.
Are they covered wagons?
No, they are open.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I do that so that there's room enough for both me and Tasha to
Okay.
get
Okay.
down into.
Sounds good.
So we'll at least have some cover.
And possibly the element of surprise.
I like surprise.
Surprise. I love a surprise. A good surprise. Nicely toasted. Shall we follow them, Aribell? And make ourselves a little turrety thing?
If you want, I don't have.
Ballistic weapons.
I can't. Yeah, she pats her sword. I can't hit them from back here.
Good point.
I mean, I
Well-
can summon light from Tororo, of course, but I'm a little more handy hand to hand.
Right.
So to speak.
We'll figure it out. I think we're all ready to go in the back here.
Okay.
Okay, boys, mount up. We're in 2 and 3. You go when you're ready. We will follow you.
Oh, they're going to be doubled up in 2 and doubled up in 3.
Yes.
Then
Yeah, so you and I will drive number 4.
got it. And Tasha's probably going to have to drive the first one. If Arimyn's going to hide.
Or is that just where to die?
No, that's just where we're jumping into if we get attacked.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. And I just sit with my crossbow next to me. Like cocked.
All right.
And I say, well, I guess daylight's burning. Might as well get this going.
Right.
All right. So you head out.
We do. And this we do.
So how long have you been in the Army?
Couple of years.
You like it?
It's been educational.
It doesn't mean you like it, but okay. Can't see myself doing that.
It serves a purpose. It wasn't my first choice, but it's worked out okay. I wasn't sure if they were gonna be able to use my talents, but they have after a fashion. And my captain is a pretty smart dude. So it's been nice learning from him.
He like looks down at your crossbow and said, "They can't use your talents, or you didn't think they could?"
I have a colorful past, and I wasn't sure if I was going to fit in, but I have after a fashion.
Yeah, we're going to get along great.
In the back, I am fidgety.
Are you okay, Zorith?
Yeah, I was just wondering about. Well, you have a closet, and in the back of the closet, there's a crate. What?
She said, I have several closets. As you started.
You do. What? But one has a crate in it with some children's toys. And there's double beds in our room. Do you have little ones?
She takes a deep breath. I did.
You did. Oh, I apologize.
It's okay. Brennis and Moira. I lost
We don't have to
them.
talk about it today, but someday I'd love to hear about them. And then I just awkwardly.
It's all right, Zorith. I'm not. It's okay to talk about them.
And
my
I
husband and children. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I lean closer.
They died about 7 months ago.
Your husband and children. Oh no.
They were at Dark Coast Keep when an attack happened.
They
They
were
didn't
there, but
make it.
we're not.
No, I was to meet them after, and they were traveling to my husband's parents' house for a family gathering, and I had to stay behind to finish some work for the church. And when they made it halfway, they were at Hills Watch, and a message came through the tower that Dark Coast Keep was in desperate need of supplies. My husband was a merchant, and he went to help. And they didn't make it back.
I pat her on the shoulder super awkwardly. I should not have asked. I should not have asked, but I was so curious.
It's Snoopy. No, I'm just kidding.
What? Oh yeah, Snoopy.
Nikki, Ruth will never snoop through somebody's closet again.
I might. I might. And my own personal, maybe. Closets more so than medicine cabinets. I don't care what's in your medicine cabinet. But and I say as I'm patting her super awkwardly, I'm really sorry for your loss. But I'm glad you're here with us.
Me too. Torah must still have plans for me.
Yes. She might.
That's why this job was important to me.
To clear the trade routes. Yeah.
Could have been my family that these bandits attacked.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay, Zor.
Nudge the horses a little little faster to catch up. And it's awkward silence.
And so there I was in the wizard's tower, and they were trying to teach us how to mix these potions together. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I mix this red potion with this green potion?
Ooh, and then
And
what
it was
happened?
not cool. It was not cool. It exploded after I ran out of the way, of course. I dove under a table. And it was so big, it scorched the ceiling of the wizard's tower in the alchemy lab. And then they kicked me out.
I can see how that might happen. But that must have been disappointing for
they might
you.
have warned me not to do that.
Wizards are funny in my experience. They tend
They are
not to think.
funny, not in the slightest.
Well, what I mean is they can be a little strange about what they choose not to tell people. because they assume that you're not going to, I don't know, touch their potions.
Well, we were learning how to mix potions, and so I mixed potions, and
Ooh. Yeah.
so if I can make a little confession, I knew exactly what I was doing.
Were you trying to escape?
No, I just wanted to cut through the boredom in some kind of way.
Oh, yeah. I'm not patient either.
You know what's worse than a wizard?
What?
A wizard professor.
Oh my, that's very true.
So they kicked me out, but I was glad to go.
Phew. So did you end up learning any wizardry at all?
I picked up like one little cantrip, but that's about it.
Oh, okay. What
So,
would you end up
learned how to fight
fighting is good.
and things.
And things. Things are good too. I enjoy things probably more than fighting.
Procurement specialist.
Excellent. Oh, wow. But only one cantrip. That's too bad.
I found some uses for it so far, so.
Okay.
It goes well with my profession.
I can see how that might be true. So you're a procurement specialist. Looks like Aribell is some kind of fighter.
Yeah, she's a holy roller.
Ooh, a paladin.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. She's good in a fight, but, oh, man.
Is she a little too goody-goody?
Goody. But it's better than batty, I guess.
That's true. That's true. And what's your sister do?
Well, she doesn't need potions. She can blow stuff up all on her own.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep. She's the whole reason we were there. I was really just like, whatever, but she actually managed to graduate, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, she's pretty awesome.
Not everybody's cut out for being a mage. It's okay.
That's for sure. You've got way too much personality to be a mage.
Oh, yeah. And maybe a sense of humor besides.
Definitely a sense of humor.
All right, so it gets to be late afternoon, going on towards evening. You sort of ate lunch as you rode, and
About how long is this trip? I was going to ask that. Looking at the map, I know the middle third is where we're paying attention, but a couple days, 3 days.
yeah, it's going to take you about 4 days to get to what you guess is the northern edge of the area where the attacks have happened.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, this is a merchant train, so you're moving at a nice steady walk.
Right.
have to conserve the horses as much as you can because they have a long way to go.
Right.
So it starts to get late afternoon. Sun is starting to go down. What do you do?
Look for a place off to the side of the road to maybe set up a camp.
Okay. It's pretty much flat grass in both directions.
I would imagine the wagon train circles around and we all get in the middle.
Yeah. You could make sort of like a square with the wagons as the edge.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You pull over and Graf comes up and says, "So we're camping here tonight, right here."
Yep.
All right,
Well,
boys.
we are. I don't know
Sup?
about you.
And you see Graf hops up on the wagon that you just got down off of, and you see his 3 helpers. You see the tall one invite Aribell and Zorith to climb down, and then he climbs up, and you see them. Looks like they've done this many times because it's very practiced. They pull the wagons into a rough square, they unhook the horses, they water them, they feed them, they begin brushing them down. These guys know what they're doing.
Nice.
And that
Good.
sort of leaves all of you to figure out, if you're going to have a fire. If so, what are you going to burn?
Is there anything around to?
You're in the
Make a
middle
fire
of
with?
you're in the middle of grass.
So no.
Well, except Grat.
Grass burns pretty quick.
Yeah. I say no fire for tonight and definitely watches.
You see one of the guys walk over and say, "Excuse me, are you gonna be wanting to make a fire?"
Do you have stuff to make a fire with?
Yeah, we brought wood.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go get you a bunch of them. And he takes off to one of the middle carts and comes back with 2 bundles of like quartered logs.
Nice.
Which gentleman was this?
You're not sure. It's
Number
not
2.
It's not Talnor because Talnor was the tall one.
And Graf was in charge.
And Graf was in charge, so this is either Jink or Rothric, but you're not really sure which is which.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name, sir.
Oh, he pulls the hat he's been wearing off his head and just clutches it and says, I'm Rothric. Nice
Pleasure
to meet you.
Rob. I'm Aribell.
Hello.
Tasha.
These are my friends.
Oh, hi.
And Zorith and Arimynn.
Howdy.
Did you bring supplies for a meal?
Oh, yeah. We packed food. Jink's getting it.
Okay. Lovely. I'm happy to help cook.
Oh, good. Graf tries cooking, but he's not so good at it. But we don't tell him because he makes the food, and if we tell him, then he won't give us any.
Ooh.
Well, Zorith and I are very good at cooking together, so it'll be our pleasure to help make dinner a little better.
Well, that'll be real good. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Gotta go see to the horses now. He just kind of throws the cap on and scurries away.
Cute.
What, Arimynn?
You have a way with people, don't you?
I like people.
Even though they're scared to death of you when they talk to you.
He was scared of me?
Maybe just shy.
He was shy.
Right. I didn't think he was scared. I wouldn't want to scare anyone.
Of course not.
Well, maybe bad people. Scaring bad people's okay.
Yep.
I squeeze Zorith on her shoulder so she knows that she doesn't have to be awkward.
Which makes it awkward.
Which makes it awkward, but that's okay.
All right, you see probably the shortest member of the Wagoneers. This is Jink. He's basically a fire plug. He's short, but he's wide.
Stout.
Yep. Then he comes walking over with... He's carrying like 3 crates that look to all be full. And it doesn't seem like it's bothering him at all.
Wow.
He just walks over, sits it down, and goes, "Food." Turns around and walks back toward the wagon.
Thank you, Jane.
Sure.
Open it up and see what we have to work with.
Pretty much road staples. There's root vegetables. There's salted meats. There's some fruit. There's a couple loaves of bread. There's some hardtack, because the bread won't last all that long. And there's a little pot of spices. Not a great variety, but enough.
What do you think, Zorith? Some stew or meat and potatoes?
Maybe meat and potatoes.
Okay.
Well, stew will add the vegetables. Oh, the vegetables will keep though. Let's do meat and potatoes.
Jink walks back with another larger crate, sits it down, goes, "Pans." Turns around and walks back to the wagon.
Thank you.
Sure.
We'll get the little grate set up over the fire. And...
Who knew the nervous one was going to be the conversationalist?
Hey, know your limitations. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Dig through the big crate, get the things we need, make a meal.
Use
All right.
the spices.
All right. By the time you get it all together, the Wagoneers have brought out basically tarps and blankets.
To lay under?
Tarps to lay on, blankets to lay under.
Got it.
And they basically set up bedding places on all 4 sides of the fire, so there's basically like 8 spaces.
On my watch, I climb back up to my little,
Hidey hole.
yeah.
Perch.
Are you taking first watch?
Yeah.
I was going to ask.
Well, when I just said when I take my watch, I don't know who's taking which watch, but
So when we're making the meal, I pray over it as we're making it.
I'm eating while she's praying.
Well,
It's not
no,
done
while
yet.
we're
Oh,
making
while
it.
you're making.
Because I
Yeah,
figure he's
okay.
gonna make me make a. I figured he's gonna make me make a performance check on the cooking, so I was praying and
Oh, I got you.
made my roll.
All right. What'd you roll? Now you get to roll with advantage because Zorith is helping you.
I don't need it.
Okay.
So all together with my prayer, 28.
Holy hell.
Great.
Okay. You see the 4 Wagoneers, they're kind of sitting on their beds, just kind of like,
Waiting.
talking back and forth and being patient, and you see all 4 of them kind of going. You hear Jink go, wow.
Nice.
You hear Roffric go, no, don't spell up nothing like that when Graf cooks. No offense, boss.
Dish
No,
it up.
none taken. It smells pretty damn
Pass
good.
it around. I'm assuming there's metal or wooden dishes of some kind, and
Yeah.
they get and pass it around. And
You're pretty sure they're all enjoying the hell out of this.
It's
That makes
quiet.
Yeah.
I eat through about half of mine and I hand the rest to Zorith.
I block it and I push it back and I say, I'm good.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. I'm fine.
she's not fine. She's awkward.
I'm fine. We don't want to make me like a 200-pound elf. Just to thank God for metabolism. We have high metabolisms, right?
Higher than a human's, but not so high that, you're not going to get fat.
I don't need it. I don't need it.
We probably just had rations on the road though at lunch, so you're probably really hungry.
I take it back.
Yeah.
And I'll eat it.
Lunch was basically trail rations.
I'll take it
I
back.
eat all of my portion. And I smile and I say, if praying made this good, you keep on praying.
Well, that and Zorith. She has a way with spices.
Mm.
And I eat mine and what's left of his. Because I can.
Graf walks over and sits his bowl down and says, that was mighty fine. Probably the best meal I've ever had on the road. You ever think about opening up a place where you cook, feed other people, you let me know. I'll be there.
I appreciate that.
Roffric walks up and says, it was really good. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Jink walks up and goes, good. Sits his bowl down. And the one you haven't heard from, Talnor, the tall one, walks up, kneels down, sets his bowl down, and says in this very soft voice, thank you very much. That was surprisingly good.
You're very welcome.
Good night.
I get a one of the biggest pans there is available, and cast create water in it so we can clean up.
Okay.
I could also cast prestidigitation.
Oh, to clean.
To clean it up.
Okay.
That's
Between
probably
the
a
two of
smart
us.
idea to clean them, though. I don't know how prestidigitation works like that.
You basically just kind of remove the stuff, but it doesn't hurt to combine it.
Wash
to
them,
remove
yeah.
it in the water.
Yeah.
Put the water pot of water on the fire to get it hot and clean everything up.
Okay.
I help.
I help too.
All right. Yeah, you see the Wagoneers are all passed out.
Feed their little good bellies and done.
Yep.
And I
Once they finish cleaning the pots and pans and stuff, I'll start putting them back in the crate
Okay.
and take them back to the carts and have them ready to go for the morning.
Okay.
I'm not gonna make breakfast.
Mm.
Maybe not. We'll just get an early start.
Who wants to do what for watches?
I only need 4 hours, so.
I only need 4 hours, but yeah. So I'll take first. Whoever wants to take with me. Or just me.
Are we gonna do 2 4-hour shifts?
That's what we usually do. But
Okay.
Well, but keep in mind, the humans need more than 4 hours of sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys you'll do 4 and you'll do 4 and that's it?
If you want.
Well,
What is your thought?
How many hours of sleep do I need? Do humans need?
8.
Really?
you need 8
That's how
hours
many
of rest.
humans. 8 whole hours of sleep? That's
Well,
ridiculous.
you need 8 hours of
Well-
doing nothing.
Oh wow.
dinner count. So how long have
Okay.
we been like sitting and kind of around the campfire? That counts as part of the 8.
Well, I don't know. I would argue that cooking is activity.
Oh, okay.
Ew.
But
But you guys probably relax for a couple of hours, but
Yeah, you can do up to 2 hours of rest as part of it, and no more than 1 hour of strenuous activity as part of it.
So we could do like a watch of 6 hours for each of them. One early and one late.
yeah,
Like 6 hours of rest.
yeah.
Because we're not really doing anything strenuous yet. We've had a big day.
Right.
So I'll take first watch and
You have the
and
one with the bunker kind of out by the road, so you guys can
Mhm.
use that.
So I don't know. Like, what if we did shifts of 3 hours each? Like, I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out.
We can do 2 hours for rest.
Okay.
we can each do 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys
So
will just be awake for.
yeah.
So I'll do last watch.
I'll do first. It's up to you two.
Yeah, and then I can do the one after, or the one before Tasha,
Okay.
and then you guys can do yours together, even if you want,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
because you guys can do the 4 hours, and then you can sleep for 4.
Yep,
While
let's
we
do
do-
that. Cool.
All right. I say, well, now that we have that figured out, night, and I pass out.
Night, Arimynn. Good night, Zorith.
Good night.
Good night.
She
All right.
lays down.
All right. So, Zorith, Arimynn,
Yes.
you're sitting through your watch. Are you stationary? Are you walking around? What are you doing?
I'm sort of sitting on the edge of my turret that I built,
Okay.
looking one direction and, well, not one direction. I'm looking in my peripheral and straightforward direction, and have Zorith face me and look behind me and her peripheral, so we should have all zones covered fairly well.
All right.
And then we can see if the other person like reacts.
Then I need both of you to make a perception check.
Come on. Oh, well, I'll just take that one. 17.
What'd you get, Mike?
16.
16. Okay. It's been a couple hours, and mostly it's just a whole lot of nothing. It's intermittent clouds, so the starlight kind of comes and goes, but it's not much. Moon isn't out tonight, so...
Oh yeah, we have dark vision. Yeah,
right. Probably somewhere in the third hour, Zorith, you pick up right at the very edge of your dark vision movement. It appears to be, well, roll perception.
Okay.
For this particularly.
Okay, it's 11.
11. You're not sure what direction, but there's movement.
I lean back and I say, there's movement. I grab my crossbow and I say, out back behind us, is there anything from the front?
No, Arimynn, you didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything. I hop down and notch an arrow in my bow and turn and look in the direction she was looking.
All right. Make a perception check.
Make it better than mine.
22.
Okay, you see exactly what she sees. It looks like two people.
Mm-hmm.
They're bipedal, upright, and they appear to be moving sort of at an angle. They're not coming toward you necessarily, but they're kind of, I don't know how to describe it. They're not going across so much as they're sort of angling, like they're walking diagonally past your camp.
Okay.
And they don't seem to be in any hurry. You might even describe it as a meander. They're just kind of, bopping through the grass. Clearly not trying to get anywhere quickly.
All right, just keeping an eye on them.
All right.
You point to me where? Right?
Yeah.
Will you point him out? Okay. I strain my little eyes. My little 11 eyes.
You see one of the creatures stop, and you get the sense that the head slowly turns and sees you, and then the body turns with it, and it starts walking your direction. The other one takes a minute, doesn't notice right away, but kind of notices slowly and turns to follow its companion, and they're both headed towards your camp.
About how far away are they?
At this point, about 50 feet.
Ooh, that's close.
Well, the edge of their vision was 60. So...
Right.
pull the bow back and point it at them and say, "Stop," loud enough for them to hear.
Their movement does not twitch. They just keep walking.
I pull a
Do we
crossbow.
wake up?
Well, you two are still asleep.
I know, I said, do we hear it enough to wake up? If he yelled 50 feet.
Make a perception check at disadvantage.
What does that mean?
Roll twice, take the lower of the two.
Okay.
The lower is 8.
And I roll a 20 and add my perception?
Yes,
Okay.
to whatever the lower of the two numbers is.
Lower's 15.
Okay. Aribell, you're still asleep. Tasha, you kind of go, huh? You've been in the army long enough that, you hear somebody yell, you think it might be an order you're missing. So you wake up and listen.
Okay.
I say, "Stop now, or I will shoot you."
Ooh,
Okay.
I wake up.
Yeah, you.
Aribell.
Okay.
I say, something's happening.
Jump up, grab my sword.
Okay. They're still moving towards you.
I grab my crossbow and go out.
Arimynn and Zorith, make another perception check.
Oh, come on, make it good.
14.
18.
18. Arimynn, you can tell that these don't appear to be rich folks. It looks like they're wearing rags. I mean, their clothing looks pretty awful. Zorith, you are able to see that not only is their clothing pretty awful, but their skin looks pretty awful too.
Oh no.
Oh, they don't look well.
Cannot believe you're doing this to your wife.
Do they do they slow down at all?
Nope. Nope.
I fire at them.
For the love that's all that holy.
All
I
right.
shoot.
And after he shoots, I will also shoot
Okay. And
because
then
I'm waiting to see my cue from him.
And then we will roll initiative. So, Arimynn, go ahead and take your shot.
I got wasted that on initiative.
16. Does that hit?
16 does hit.
All right.
For initiative, just add my dex.
If you're looking,
There's an initiative box.
Yes, there is an initiative box on your character sheet.
Oh, it is. It's right there. Okay.
So
So it is.
8 points of damage.
All right. You sink the arrow directly in the center of this person's chest, and it's like you didn't even hit them. You can see it sticking out of their chest, and they're still just walking towards you.
I hate you.
All right.
Zorith.
do you have a second attack, Mike?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I shoot my crossbow. Can I see which one he's attacked?
Yes. You
Okay,
can see
can I
the
shoot
arrow
the
sticking
other
out of its chest.
Can I shoot the other one?
Sure.
Okay. 12.
12 will hit.
Oh, great. 1d8 plus 3. Ugh, 5.
5. All right. Well, this you shoot the arrow and it sinks right into just a little bit off center into the stomach, and just like the other one, doesn't even react.
Crossbow bolts are smaller, fatter round, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They're squatter arrows.
I got the bolts.
All right. Now I need everybody to roll initiative, please.
And as we're rolling an ish, I say, I don't think they're human.
Nope. 11.
21.
Ooh, good.
Yeah, except for that's where my 20 went.
24.
Ooh.
Some things always remain.
And Nikki.
19.
And that always goes first.
Not always. Not always.
True.
All right. Tasha.
Well, I try Thunderclap.
Okay.
See what that does.
We point them out where they're coming from. I don't
Yeah.
think they're human.
It's very difficult for you to see because it's dark.
How far away are they?
At this point, about 30 feet.
Okay. It says that you can hear this up to 100 feet away. This will wake up the other people too, I'm sure.
Yep.
And it does 1d6 damage. So do I have to roll to hit or anything like that?
No, they roll a saving throw.
Okay.
So, what's your
these-
spell DC?
14, I think.
Okay.
Yep. Save DC 14.
All right. So, roll your damage.
Okay. 6 points.
6 points. Now,
Woo!
how are you casting this? Like, are you playing it? Are you singing it?
Yeah, I hum Thunderstrike underneath my breath.
Okay. All right. You hear her hum, and then she opens her mouth, and this massive boom of thunder careens out, and it washes over them and seems to have no effect.
Ah!
It scared the crap out of the wagon guys, though.
Yep.
So
Yeah. You hear 4 voices go, what's going on? Loud. You know.
Watch the horses keep in the center.
Right. All right. Aribell.
How close are they now?
Still about 30 feet off.
30?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are
Then
not
I am
moving
going to-
fast.
Okay. But 30 I can get to, so I will move into melee and attack one.
Okay.
And they are undead, is that what we're...
When you get up close to them, the smell tips you off.
Gross.
All right. Dice is on fire.
Now you done it.
Natural 20.
Natural
And
20.
20.
All right. Are you attacking the one that Zorith attacked or the one that Arimynn attacked?
The one on the left.
That would be Arimynn.
Because I don't think I saw them attacking, so...
Okay. That
All
would
right,
be
I am
Arimmyn's.
up. All right, so I am, because I know what they are undead. I am calling on Torora, and I am using Divine Smite when I hit this.
Okay.
Oh, that's good.
And they are undead, you said.
Oh, yes.
Can I borrow a couple, 2d8, please?
Only got one.
Oh, I thought you had. Oh, you don't have your extras out.
Nope.
So
All right, what did you roll to hit?
I rolled a natural 20.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
All right.
I thought you read that.
No. I know now.
Yeah. So 2 plus 3 is 4. So that will be 28 points of damage.
Ooh.
Wow.
Because you get to double all the dice.
Now, is there different damage types to that? Because doesn't smite do radiant?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Might make a difference here.
Do you need the... Yeah,
No,
so...
I don't need them separate.
Okay.
So, yeah. Go ahead and call it.
So, yeah, she... I don't have a phrase yet for what I have to come up with a divine smite, but she definitely calls on Torora loudly and just hits this, and the radiant damage from the sword in her hands at the same time strikes this thing along with her sword, and I'm guessing just cuts it down.
You swing this massive overhand swing, just boom, and there's this incredible flash of light, and you see the thing just kind of stop and start to fall backwards, and at the same time start to fall apart. And by the time it lands on the ground, it's just pieces. It literally just sort of shattered.
I just learned that last level, so y'all haven't seen that before.
Nope. All right. Zorith.
I yell, nice! And then I cast Ray of Frost, which is a cantrip
Okay.
that will 1d8 cold damage, and speed is reduced by 10 feet. And it is a roll to hit. Ooh, 19, natural 19, so roll to hit, 25.
Yes, that will definitely hit.
Yay!
And 1d10. 6.
All right. You call upon your powers and point, and this thin white beam streaks out, catches the creature right in the middle of the chest, and you see ice just form along probably 2/3 of its body vertically, and it literally is just barely moving now.
Yeah, I tugged my hair and said, brr. Brr.
All right. And Arimynn.
I'll take another shot at it. Who knows? 23.
That will hit.
22.
That will still hit.
Yes.
Finish him.
All right. 7 points of damage.
7 points of damage. Your shot goes right through its left eye, and you just see the fletching sticking out. And it takes a sidestep and then just falls over sideways.
That is gnarly.
I swing my sword around and take it and decapitate it for
Okay.
good measure.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Not a problem.
I don't
It's
want to touch them, obviously, but
not
I want to look
resisting
at
it.
them.
Okay.
What do you want? Ooh, 15 plus investigation.
An investigation check.
17.
17. Definitely were dead before you dropped them.
Look, do they look human?
Yeah.
Pre-zombie.
Yeah, they both appear to have been human.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I'm gonna burn them.
Ugh.
It'll smell terrible.
It will.
It will.
Why are there zombies walking around randomly in the middle of a...
Field?
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
cat.
bode well.
I'm gonna put up divine sense.
Okay.
That's 60 feet. Are there any more that I can sense?
No.
While the boys are up, I'm gonna ask them if they have heard about undead roaming, or has it just been bandits?
Well, you see, Graf has lit a torch out of the embers of the fire and is walking over with the torch in hand.
Graf,
What was that?
undead.
Really? He holds the torch up and walks over and looks and goes, ugh. Goes and looks at the other one that Aribell hit and goes, oh, fuck.
You know, I couldn't agree more.
No.
Are they part of the
That's
wagon that haven't come back?
That's Briggs.
Oh no, you know him?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's horrible.
He was on one of the first caravans to go out that didn't come back. Poor asshole.
Well, this sucks.
So the men you've talked to about the previous, they never mentioned undead. They just said bandits, correct?
Yeah.
This is definitely not good.
Sorry, Graf.
Thanks. Can I hate to ask, but is there a way we could take him back?
We should bury them. Oh,
Take him back?
His family's gonna want to know.
perhaps we can wrap them in one of the tarps.
No, we got spares.
Freeze. Can you freeze it so it won't smell as bad, Zorith?
I was just thinking that. It's a cantrip. I could freeze it, but I don't know how long it lasts.
Maybe if you did it a couple times a day, it wouldn't. If it's a cantrip, it won't.
That's true.
That's what I was thinking. But it does damage, though. Will it damage him? Like, will it damage the body?
He's dead.
No.
I
No,
mean-
it'll cover the. It'll chill the body and cover it in ice.
So
But it's not really capable of taking more damage from that at this point.
okay, right.
Sorry.
So making it a Briggs popsicle, will that work?
Yep.
Think the other
Bripsicle?
person. We probably should do both, right? They're probably also from the.
Well, he says he doesn't know the other one.
Well,
Okay.
let's just take the one and bury the other one.
I look at Tasha and I say, I guess we should have told you before you set out on this little mission with us. So far, every time we've gone to go do one of these tasks for somebody, it turns out to be 10 times worse than what it was supposed to be.
That's just the story of my life, brother. I'm not worried.
I mean, the last one we did, we were supposed to go kill rats and get them out of a basement. You don't want to know what ended up happening.
There were spiders with wings.
Did the rats turn into a rat king? I mean, did it like turn into one big rat or something?
You don't want to know what it turned into.
Oh no!
I
Yeah.
if we're gonna dig a grave, Are we gonna dig your grave for the other one?
I think we should.
Yeah, I will say a prayer over it. I don't have anything.
Graf calls the boys over and says, bring shovels. And they proceed to dig the grave.
Groovy.
I'm gonna take the tarp in my hands and fold it over the body,
Okay.
and then like
I help her.
roll it so it continues to roll on the tarp, so we don't actually have to touch it.
Okay. Well, the tarp's about 10 by 10,
Oh yeah, that'll work.
so
Yeah, I help
And
her.
then, do I freeze it
Body.
before or after? I don't know. Would I know? I've never done this. Would this be something in my training?
no. No one ever taught you how to preserve a dead body with your cantrips.
So while she's wrapping the tarp around this body, I cast Mage Hand and have it just go like this on her shoulder from behind.
All right. Make a deception check.
It wouldn't be sleight of hand.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I'll go with sleight of hand.
All right. 20.
And
Dirty
what's
20.
mine?
Perception.
11.
Yeah. And I can't believe you set me up for this, Mike. You feel a heavy hand on your shoulder.
I knew that's where you were going.
I yelp and bat it off.
Well, you yelp and go to bat it off, and you don't feel anything, but yet something's gripping your shoulder. It takes you about a second and a half to figure it out.
And I say,
I'm
jackass.
back there laughing.
And I think as I'm rapping, I think every time I turn, I'm going to like cast Ray of Frost so like I can get it in the like each level.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
All right.
Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll
It can't
probably hold it. Graf and the boys figure out how to sort of truss it up to the bottom of one of the wagons.
Oh my god. It's horrible.
It keeps it out of the sun.
I know.
Is what
It's
they were
just
thinking.
horrible.
So they dig the grave and we get the other body in it and bury it, and I'll say a prayer over the grave and
Okay.
Consecrate it.
yeah, I mean, whatever I can do. I don't have a spell to do that,
Right, but still.
My cleric training, I'm sure I know how to do a funeral.
Yeah, you know the basic funereal rites. All right. Well, after this little diversion, eventually everybody gets back to sleep. The rest of the first half of the watch is peaceful. The rest of the night is peaceful.
The second watch and third, they're
Yep.
good.
Yep. And you awake shortly after dawn. You see that Graf and the boys are already up and getting the horses ready to go, getting the wagons ready to go.
Do I need to check on the frozen guy to see if it needs it again?
I thought about this. Make an Arcana check.
Okay. 14.
14. You figure if you do this about every 12 hours or so, it should keep it, if not cold, cool enough that it won't decay quickly.
Okay.
You know, there's basically nothing you can do to stop it at this point, but you can definitely slow it.
Okay, well, 4 hours into the next day of our trip, I'll make sure that we stop, and I'll ray of frost him.
Okay. And when you stop, Graf makes a point of walking over and saying how much he appreciates your willingness to do this, and how much Briggs's family will appreciate it, at least knowing what happened to him and being able to lay him to rest.
We don't have to tell them what somebody did to him, though.
Well, they're going to want to see him.
Well,
So they're going to know.
that's a shame.
I'll do the best I can.
All right. All right. As the wagon train continues on southward into the second day of the trip, that's where we're going to stop for the night.
Great.
So, did we have the same riding partner?
That's up to you.
I imagine so.
Okay.
Might
Did
as well.
Zorith want to trade?
No, Zorith's fine today.
Today?
Yeah, last night I was super awkward because I asked her about her dead family, but I'm not going to say that in game yet.
Just didn't know if you were still okay or if you were still uncomfortable.
No, I'm good. I've slept it, and you were moderately okay with it. So I'm okay with it for now.
All right. Okay, so we will pick up next week around the beginning of day 2 and see what the future holds for you. And thank you, all of you, for watching. If you liked what you saw, tell your friends.
Please.
They might like it too, and in this day and age, it's not like we have a plethora of things to keep us occupied while we're all mostly stuck at home. So, yeah, if you know somebody who might enjoy this, let them know. And thanks for watching, and we will see you next Tuesday night, and welcome you back to the lands of Aecathan. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for being here, Annette.